Hello, hello. Yes. Good evening, everyone. So, this topic, the Savior complex, that was actually a topic that one of our friends here from the center, Renato, which he's not here. He's coming? Okay, good. Because last Wednesday, he actually said to me, Yonara, I would love for you to talk about this topic because, you know, he had a problem with this. And he said, and I think a lot of people have this and they don't know that they do have it. And I have to say to you, I have to start the talking tonight saying that I don't know if I'm better, but I definitely suffer from this. And you guys are going to see why. I had it, I'm going to tell you a few stories. One of the stories that happened to me, but this is actually very common. So just to start, it's the Savior complex. It's also known as the Messiah complex. That's another name for the same thing. And the subtitle that I use here is Why Good Intention May Have Negative Outcomes. Do you think that's possible? Yes, right? So in everything that we do in life, sometimes we say, oh, but my intention is good. In Portuguese, we have a saying that the hell is full of good intention. You all know that one, right? It has this true, because sometimes we might have the best intention, we might have good intention, but the outcome are negative. Okay? And this Savior complex, it's all about that. So even though if we put in check our intention are always to do good for other people. Most of us have this good intention, but by trying to help other person, we might actually warm them. That's difficult to grasp it, but that's the reality. So let's go for, at first, the term Savior complex may have a positive connotation. However, when you learn more about it, the underlying motivation and impact on others, it is clear that this behavior pattern can be problematic. Okay? So everybody that have the Savior complex, at first, they think that it's a good thing. And that's why it's so hard to work and reverse that. Because in our mind, we are doing a good thing. And our mind, it's good. And the way the society see, okay, sometimes, and the way that how we want society to see us makes us stuck to this, to this, I don't know what happened here. Many? Oh, okay, I thought they were fixing. So just because we believe that when we were a child, we believe that doing good to others is a good thing. So we might have this behavior, have everything to do with this, but still don't recognize it as a problem. See? That's the first thing. So let's go for the definition of this savior complex. Can be best defined as a psychological construct which makes a person feel the need to save other people. Okay? This person has a strong tendency to seek people who desperately need help to assist them. Okay? So, what is the word here? What is wrong with this phrase here? So we have here a person feels what? They want to save other people, right? So, but the problem here is this one here. It's the need, okay? It's the need. And another thing is to save. Can we save anybody? You think so? Yes? How? How can you save? If they want to be saved, you can save them.
No, they can save themselves.
Okay, here's the thing. The need to save. That a person feels the need to save others. So the person with this complex have the need to save others. So they are the one who have to save. So I'm going to ask you again. Can anybody save anybody? No. Right? Otherwise, Jesus would have done it. And Spiritism, other religions, they might say that Christ, that Jesus is a savior. For us, Christ is not a savior. He's a teacher. He's a Messiah. He is somebody that came here and gave us example, never wrote anything, just lived his life, okay? But he never pretended that he was going to save anybody, okay? So there's Renato. He's the one who said, Yonara, talk about that. So here we go, Renato. I'm glad you made it. So we cannot save anybody, and the need to save is another problem, okay? So there is a question. How do you know if you have this complex or not? There is a few questions that you can ask yourself, okay? So the first one is, have you ever felt like you were responsible for the success and the well-being of another grown adult? Have you felt that? Okay? Like this other person really needed your help, and if it weren't for you, they would be in a lot of trouble, unable to take care of themselves. Okay. Who are you responsible for? Yourself. Responsible. Okay? So we're going to make the difference later, but the responsibility, okay? You're responsible for yourself. Now, when you feel that you are responsible for another grown adult, okay? I'm not talking about your kids when they were little. But the kids, they become adult one day, okay? So you feel that they're responsible. Another question is, and this is great because usually the feeling is this, that the other person is unable to take care of themselves. Does anybody have an example for me here? stupid one. I'm going to give you one example, that everyday example. Oh, I'm going to cook for my husband because if I don't cook, he's unable to take care of themselves. He's not going to eat. Right? And this is true. This is something that the person believes, that they feel responsible to cook for that person. Because if they don't cook, they won't be able, the other person won't be able to eat, or he's going to eat something that is not healthy, so I have to do it. No, you don't. Okay? But we are trained to believe, okay, that this is the case. Now, do we love and sometimes like to cook for the person that we love? Yes, we do. There was nothing wrong with that, as long as I don't feel that he is unable. This is to take care of themselves. Okay? So, another question is, have you felt, this is hard, have you felt like you had to save them? And if none of your effort worked and the person continued down the path of self-destruction, have you felt in denial about it? Okay? So this denial is when we always give excuses to ourselves. Oh, I have to do this, because if I don't do it, if I don't cook for the person, he's going to die. He's going to faint. This is going to happen. Okay? So you feel like this is, the denial about it is when we give excuses over and over and over when the person is on path of self-destruction. Okay? Anybody that it's on a path of self-destruction. Can you guys describe that to me? What is a person that is in a path of self-destruction? It's a person that they don't want to change. Okay? The person doesn't want to change. Okay. And then you give all the excuses because you wanted to save that person. It could be anybody. Okay? So, the common trend in all these circumstances is that the child is manipulated with the feelings of guilt. So in this slide here, we were wondering why. Why does that person has a savior complex? Okay, and this becomes in a childhood. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, everything that we suffer today, it comes from a childhood. Okay, it's when the ego it's formed. So isn't it funny that for like 13, 14, 18 years of our lives, the way we live affect our lives, even when we were 60 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old? This is how important that part is. But that only happens if we stay on the automatically behavior. There is a way to get out of this, but you have to become conscious about it. So why does it happen? Usually this type of situation comes from a very troubled home, and one of the reasons is when the moms and daddy fights a lot in front of the kids. And the kid feels the need to interfere. I had a friend that she told me that when their parents were fighting, she was 7 years old, and she would become to one of the parents and said, hey, do you know that mom is a great person and she did that for you? And then she would go to the dad and say, hey, do you know dad? You know that he did this and this, he's so good. And she remembered trying to be, trying to make peace. Because in a home that there is a lot of problems in their homes, the parents usually don't have the time for the kids. They usually don't. Because they're so busy, with the stress day of the life. Or maybe if you come in with a very large family, that your parents didn't have the time to give you all the attention, that can also help with this. But most of the time is when the child did not feel loved in their home. Okay? They were not nourished. They didn't feel like, that their parents loved them for who they are. So they want the attention. And when they want the attention, they become the savior. Okay? So the common trend in all these circumstances that the child is manipulated with the feeling of guilt. There is a research about this. Lots of times when the parents are fighting, the kids can't help it. They feel guilty about it. And a lot of the times they think it's my fault. For some reason, the kids think it's their fault. And they also feel the shame, right? And fear into become a tool of fulfill his parents. So it's obvious, you love your mom so much, you love your dad so much, you see them suffer, so what do you try to do? You try to fulfill that. And you think that you need to do that. Okay? Their parents' needs and wish, his own feelings are invalidated. He grows up feeling rejected, shut down, and learns to cope with his anxiety on his own. So, if you grew up in a dysfunctional family, you grew up thinking that you can and must make a difference. You believe that you can do it all if you put in enough effort. You grow up feeling omnipotent. You fail to recognize your own limitations because this is the only way you can feel needed and whole. This is a serious scenario. Okay? So, you might not like what I'm going to say, but sometimes the need to help people is because deep down you feel like you're better than other people. Okay? And when you feel that you're better than the other people, of course, poor thing, I have to fix it. And religion can play a huge role in this. A person with a savior complex will love religion. Because I can just come here and help everybody and save everybody. And we need collaboration. But when you have that need, okay, the number one reason when it's not the right motivation is when you don't think about yourself. You don't take care of yourself. The other people comes way first than you. Okay? We need collaboration. It's good to help other people. Okay? But you have to give the same importance to you also. Okay? It's a balance. It's a balance. I'm important as audio is. The same thing. Okay? So when you grow up with this feeling of omnipotent, is when you grow up with the feeling that you are better than others. And that's what we call pride. You fail to recognize your own limitation because this is the only way you feel needed and whole. So you give everything that you have, plus 10%, plus whatever, because that's the way you feel. Go ahead, Jessica.
I have a question. Is this similar to a person being an empath?
No. An empath can feel what the other person's feeling, but they don't always act on it. This one, they don't have to feel anything. They just needed to go ahead and save people. They have. They might have it, but they might have it or might not. So. Another thing is the type of relationship. You find it hard to perceive a relationship that promises a stable, secure attachment with a partner that is problem-free. On the opposite, you attract to people with issues because you will invest massive time and research to save them from themselves. That's the problem with the savior contract. You're going to attract people that are they have problems. It's just like a magnet, you know? In Portuguese, we have a saying that that person is a dedo podre, okay? That is the person that is gonna attract problems. They're gonna attract people that wanted to be saved. Okay? They wanted to be saved, but they don't want to do any of the work on their own. They just want to be saved. Save me. And the Savior goes, what do you need? I'm here. He's that. He's that. Okay? And they do everything that they can to save that person because they truly believe that they can save the other person. So when we look at ourselves and say to ourselves, why am I attracting this type of person in my life? Why am I attracting this type of person in my life? It's because you have the need. Can you guys think about energy a little bit with me here? You have an energy, you put it out there, you vibrating. I need to save people. I need to save people. Who are you going to attract? The most troubled person. Because that's what you wanted. You wanted to save people. And it's hard to recognize it. When you are saving another, you are really trying to save yourself. Okay?
I was just going to say, do you think that the Savior complex people are perfectionists?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But they are usually perfection. The focus, it's never them. It's always the other people.
That's what I'm saying. You're trying to save yourself, so they see all these problems with them, and reality, whatever they're fixing for them, maybe that missing piece they're trying to work on themselves.
Yeah, it's because they instead of looking, and we're going to see that very soon, instead of recognizing the problem in themselves, they only see the problem on the other person. Okay? So they don't see that they have a problem. They only see that the other person, of course, I have to save. I don't have a problem. I'm good. I just want to save you. So the I is outside, outside, outside. It's never inward. Okay? So it's very important for that person to realize that you are trying to save yourself from feeling empty, anxious, pain, everything else. So you put the focus on the other person. You encourage dependency. You don't help the other person become autonomous. Learn the life lessons. Gain wisdom from their experience. You are not trying to leave them alone with a problem so that they can figure it out on their own. Instead, you appropriate their issue and make them your own. That's a serious issue. Because when I truly want to help someone, there is a difference to guidance, but I understand this is very common, this language of codependency. It was first used only when a person had an addiction, alcoholic. If you come from a home that your mom or dad was an alcoholic, codependency was the word that you used to why a person stay in a relationship when they have addiction problems. But then they realized that if you come from a dysfunctional family, you will also become codependency. It's like you depend on the other person. And relationships, like we talked about it last week, is 50-50. You give your 50%, the other person gives the other 50, and it's okay. At the moment that the person is not giving you and not anything, and you are the one who's doing all the work, you know, there's a problem. So remember, we always want this. We always want to understand that the person needs to gain wisdom on their own. And you have to allow it. I'm going to give you an example in my life. I used to have a huge problem with this, with my sister, one of my sisters. I felt so responsible for her life. to the point that she had a teenage daughter that was giving her, she lives up north, her teenage daughter was giving her a lot of problems, right? So what did I do? Let me have your kid. Let her live. She needs to live with me. And she did for almost 2 years. To the point that my dad told me once, "What are you doing? You think you are helping your sister by taking the problems away from her, bringing the problem to your home, and then you allow your sister to live the life that she wants when the daughter is her responsibility?" And I cannot tell you how many times I got over here, paid very expensive flight tickets to go there as an emergency to save my sister. Could I save my sister? No. She's still living her life the way she chose to. But then I needed to work on me to see that I cannot feel responsible for her life. She has to gain the wisdom, and she has to learn their life lessons on her own. So if you are in an abusive relationship, most of the time, it's because you don't allow the person to get the consequences of their own actions. You believe that you need to be there for that person. Okay? So you encourage dependency. Don't we always say that a good mom or a good dad is the one that allow the kids to fly? Because we don't want anything that causes dependency, that the person depends on you, on anything. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. So this is very different from supporting a loved one in need. Very different. Okay? When you support someone, you validate their struggle by communicating you believe that they have enough internal research to overcome it. You allow them the right to ask for help. Here's the problem with the Savior. A person didn't even ask for their help, and they're there to help. Person never ask. Most of the time they don't. And if they do ask, they need to ask with what? With the one who said, I wanted to change. I wanted to transform myself. I don't want to live this life anymore. Can you please help me? Yeah. Otherwise, it's only the Savior complex playing a huge role then. But you recognize you are not obligated to provide it. Support leads to autonomy when the person learns to overcome hardship by himself and grows to become stronger and more resilient. Okay? Sometimes when you have a helicopter parent, have you heard about the helicopter parents? It's the parents that are always there. It's the helicopter parent. That could also create dependency on a person. That can also be the reason why we attract people that needs to be saved, okay? So remember that when it's okay to support a loved one, okay? But you have to believe that they have enough internal research to overcome. And that is another, let me go to the next one so we talk about energy a little bit. On the other hand, being a savior invalidates another. That's what it does. As a savior, you communicate the message. You can't do this yourself. You're helpless without me. Let me help you. Why on the surface you may express and you sincerely believe in the desire for the person to improve and grow, you may think, no, I want that person to grow. I want that person to improve. You believe that. But in actually, you undermine them by taking away their opportunity to learn their life lessons. Okay? The thing here is this is why being a savior, it's not okay. Because the message that you send to other people is that you can't do it yourself. You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it. Your energy tells them. We don't communicate by words. We say stuff to each other, but the real communication is through energy. And what your energy is doing is telling the other person that they are not capable. Is this helping? No, it's not helping. So in this type of savior, you do crazy things for other people. Crazy things. People that you might just met. If you have that savior complex, you met someone right there, and you might think that you have to do everything, save them, do this, do that, do that, do that, do that, do. Let me do this. Okay? And then there's a problem, right? Because, that person might never even be grateful for you. So, the more effort you invest in saving others, the less time you spend assessing your own life and analyzing your own action led you to end up in this situation. That's the problem. Okay? The more effort you invest in saving others, the less time you spend on your own. Okay? And your own action led you to the end of this situation. So you have to see there is a problem. The problem is me. Okay? I'm more than willing. Look at me, right? I'm here at the center almost 6 nights of the week. Because I wanted to make that clear. Because I believe that life is all about serving others also. I watched a video yesterday, let me see if I remember, it was the guy that says that the river never drinks its own water. The tree never eats its own fruit. The sun never shines for himself. nature works when you do collaborate and we help each other. Help does not mean save. That's the difference. I know that I cannot save you. And I believe in you. I believe in every single one of you. I believe that you can overcome this. I believe that whatever you're going in life, you can do it. There is a difference on it, on this. You guys see it? You see the difference? Okay? You're not going to change anybody. Yeah. He is a person that I've been married for 32 years. Can I change my husband? No. If you have a daughter, or if you have a son that is, or a wife, or a husband that is in trouble, okay? The moment that you stop to believe that a person can overcome that person, and you are the one who have to solve their problems, you are not doing any good to them. Any good to them. Okay? And how many times we see a relationship. But you spend so much time saving others that you barely are going to work on your own issues. That's clear. All my energy is outside. So, can we change? What do you guys think? Huh? Yes? So how do we fix this? How do we fix it? It's a lifetime effort to, if you have the tendency, you're gonna have to work on this for a while. Okay? And the first thing you must do is recognize your role in this and confront reality. First time you have to do it. You have to look at yourself and say, listen, I have this problem. If you don't do it, it's never going to work. And when you look at yourself, you're going to say, the problem, it's me. The problem, it's me. It's not the person that I'm trying to save. The problem, it's in me because of the childhood that I had. They're my childhood traumas that I am trying to impose on other people. Okay? And you have to face reality, because up until now, you thought that you were so good. Such a good soul. But the motivation is not right. And can I be honest with you? But somebody that went through this, it hurts. It hurts. Because you truly believe that you're only doing this because you want to help the other person. And the only thing you're trying to do is to be loved. But you believe that in order for you to be loved, You have to fix the other person. Because then you are being the messiahs. And you are saving people. Okay? So what do we have to do? After we confront this reality here, okay, and recognize that, think about this. Think about let me give you an example. Think about a person that is still in a relationship with somebody that is very abusive. And I'm not talking about only physical abuse. Maybe verbal abuse. Okay? And you are outside of that relationship and you're saying, why did that person leave the other? What is wrong? Why don't you leave? And sometimes we see this as a kid. We see this in a parent. And it's funny because you're thinking that by watching your mom and dad having all kinds of trouble, you're going to get off that and say, I do never wish to live their life. But for some reason, you attract someone and you live the same life that your parents were living. And then you see yourself, being abused by the other person. All the times, and you give all the excuse. No, but, and abuse is not only abuse, verbally abuse is also when you don't want to be there anymore, but you can't leave. You can't leave because you truly believe that if you leave, something is going to happen, bad is going to happen to the other person. That's a savior complex also. And that's why the reason that sometimes you will marry to a person that has an addiction, and you are married to that person and for years and years and years, and you can't leave. Can't leave. Because if you leave, something's going to happen, and it's going to be whose fault? Your fault. Because you have guilty issues from your childhood. Now let me ask you this. Is it your fault? No. If anything happens to a person, is it your responsibility? No. To an adult person? No. No. It's not your responsibility. But something inside of you believes that you are. So confronting this reality, it hurts. Because what we do is always to give excuse. We always give excuse, always, to why we're still on that relationship. So the first thing we have to do is focus on yourself. When I say focus on yourself, it's not to live a life thinking only about yourself. Focus on yourself means look at you. Look at your own pain. Look at you, at your own emotions. Okay? Focus on fixing that. Okay? So you cannot do this if you don't recognize there's something wrong with you. There is something wrong with you. fix that on yourself. You are the one with the problem. And I don't mean it in any punitive, judgmental way. However, unless you focus on yourself and stop blaming others, you will never be able to change anything. Never. Okay? When you focus on yourself is when you focus on your own transformation. So we're always thinking what other person is doing, what they're doing. Now, what are you doing with your own feelings? Okay? So focus on yourself, meaning when you have the need to save others, okay, what is the reason? What's in there? What is that it's making you do that? And then the second thing that you have to do is accept your limitations. Okay? Allow yourself to be helpless. And this is one of the things that I had to do with my family. I can't fix it. But being the daughter of an alcoholic dad, I can tell you that it took me years to realize that I could not help my father. No matter what I tried. And you feel guilty, and you feel like, no, but I can. If I do that way, if I love him more. No, there is no guarantee. Or maybe if I say something, if I have a conversation, if I talk, nope, nothing helped. Absolutely nothing. And it's okay to feel helpless. Means this is what it is. They're choosing this life, and they will learn from their mistakes. It's nothing, absolutely nothing that I can do. You think, and this is true, if you just try a little harder, I can fix this. In reality, you are trying to fix something that happened a long time ago when you were a kid that you were unable to fix it. It's you. It's only you. This has everything to do, being helpless. It has everything to do with free will. It's because you allow the other person to take the path that they choose in life. Because even if you say no, they will do it anyway. It's just better to be in the support part of life. For the longest time, I thought that I had this belief that my dad used to drink because he didn't love me. Because if he loved me, he knew that how much I hated to see him drunk. Can't he see that I'm suffering? Can't he see that I don't like this? No, he couldn't. And after I understood that when he drinks, it's about him. It's not about me. Did he love me? Yes. And then I had to learn how to love him, because I was always so judgmental. And there is one thing about love, that love doesn't judge. Love, it's acceptance. You learn to love the person just the way they are. And I had to learn that with my sister also. I love my sister. But I have to respect the life that she wants to live. It's not the life that I wanted for myself or for her, but she wants that. She's choosing that. And it's okay. And we cannot judge. The Savior becomes judgmental. And it's so funny because every time we see this in therapy, the person is always talking about their mother, complaining about the relationship. Always, you see a Savior, and they say, oh, my mom is like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. They're obsessed about the person that they wanted to save. That's all they talk about. Oh, my husband is that, is that. They're not happy. Don't ever think that the Savior is happy, because they are miserable. Miserable. Imagine you swimming against the river. There is only so much you can do. After that, you're exhausted. You're exhausted. And then you become miserable. You have no life, no joy in life. Because there is proof in life that you cannot save anybody. Mm-hmm.
People that were truly altruistic, truly devoted their lives to save humanity and helping us to evolve and to progress. And most of the people that really put themselves there to fight for other people, because they end up being murdered or arrested or in prison. It's there that kind of personality of people that are truly altruistic instead of being a person who complies of sin.
No, you can be truly altruistic without being a savior. Because a truly altruist is the one that understands when the person is asking for help. You see what I'm saying? So a person is asking for help. How can you help that person? It's only so much you can do. And the altruistic person, they know that. They know that. They know when. Look at the word responsibility, right? If you look at the real meaning of the word before, right? Because what they took this word responsibility, and they gave a completely different meaning. But if you walk at responsibility, it's your capability to respond in life, okay? And you do have that. So response ability, your ability to respond to a situation. So if somebody is asking for help, it's your response ability. You have the ability to respond. And when it comes to that type of responsibility, sometimes you can do it and sometimes you can't. okay? You are truly altruistic with one cause. You see people are coming to you so you can be their voice. And you see, look at Martin Luther King, right? So he came in and he saw there was a lot of people coming in and suffering, and they wanted help, and he was there. He gave them help. So Jesus used to say, give water to the one that are thirsty. Because if you are not thirsty, you cannot help that person, no matter who they are. And you understand what you play. Your responsibility to the other person is only halfway. They have to come. You cannot carry the person. Ever. So did that answer your question? So you can be truly altruistic without having the Savior come. Because I'm not trying to save you. I'm trying to support you.
So what I understood is the difference between the person with the complex of Savior and the truly altruistic person is the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
The person with that complex doesn't have that clear boundary. She separates things where it's really charity, where it's really help, and where it's just like pride or
One thing that it's also a red flag is the Savior does not think about himself, ever. He sacrificed himself all the way to save. They're never thinking about their own well-being. It's always about the person's well-being. Okay? So let's take an example. You have a relationship, and then the person has an addiction problems. You're thinking about them. They need help. They need therapy. They need this. They need. What about you? What is that you need? They cannot see it. They don't see their own needs. And we all have needs, don't we? We all have needs. It doesn't matter if it's a hug, if it's a kiss, if it's anything. We have our own needs. A person with a Savior complex don't see their own needs. That's another red flag. You don't have to do that. You can always see yourself. You can always see yourself emotionally, physically, financially. You have to see yourself. And then you can help. Okay? All right. Any questions? No? Yes.
The foundation of the Spiritist is that saying that without charity there's no salvation.
Mm-hmm.
But what is salvation for a Spiritist?
Transformation. Transformation. But do you know what charity is? Charity is, there is a shirt that, according to the Spirit, real charity is being benevolent to other people, or being a loving person, and to everybody, not only one person. And to be forgiven of other people's behavior. That's charity also. Huh? That's charity. So according to the Spirit's book, charity that we see it itself, like giving to the poor, that's not charity. Okay? People say, oh, I give so much to charity. No, that's not charity. This is kind of like a human being obligation that we have with one another. When it's your duty right? You have too much, the other person doesn't have anything, right? You give to a foundation, to whatever. That's okay. But the real charity is when you can forgive other people for their own faults. It's when you accept people for who they are. And then you see salvation as a transformation. That's the meaning of salvation in that phrase. Because you need to transform yourself. Okay? And think about the person with the savior complex, that they die and go to the spiritual world, and they're going to think that, oh, but I did so much. I helped so much people, so many people. Out of what? What was your motivation? Pride? What was your real motivation? You have a question, Reed? No? Okay. Anybody else? No?
Would it be like an oxymoron to have the savior complex for yourself? Because you're saying the savior wouldn't think about himself, so you can't really have the savior complex worrying about yourself only. You get what I know it's confusing.
Yeah. No, I got you what you're saying. Depends on what type of, because you might look at yourself financially, maybe. You might look at yourself on the physical matters, but you are not looking at yourself on the emotional level. Okay? So it could be that. Now, there is different levels of the complex of the Savior also. There is one that it's more, when you have it really, really heavy, you don't see yourself in any side of life. The Savior complex, they're so worried about their loved ones, how they feel, if they're happy, that they completely forget about their own happiness. Now, what about how I feel? Huh? Okay? All right. So this is it. Thank you so much.